This 1975 Sankyo Pachinko machine. This quick start guide will show you how to set it up and play. The machine has boards attached to the bottom so you can set it on a table and it'll be stabilized. But for those watching the video who maybe don't have that, you want to attach something like 1x4s, attach 2 of them to the bottom of your machine to keep it stable. And when you get your machine, there's a few things you want to do. The first thing you want to do is lock the ball drain lever. Now on your machine, it's right here. You've got this piece of metal here, these two arms here. In this position, if you were to add balls in your machine, they would flow down and roll out your machine. So you have to lock these two levers by pushing on this metal plate here to the left. Those levers flipped up, now they're locked in place. On some machines there's actually a wire that goes here across and you could pull on that, push on that wire, but doing this does the same thing. The other thing you want to do is there is a green fork here. It's 2 prongs that flip down and enter into this lane to block the flow of balls. Just make sure that that's flipped up. You don't really need this part for home use. You could even tape it out of the way if you want. It was there for pachinko parlor attendants to flip down, keep balls in the machine while they were working on it. Number one problem with pachinko machines is the 1-ball seesaw in the wrong position. And the 1-ball seesaw is this clear rectangle right behind my finger, and you can see a pachinko ball there. There's actually 2 balls in there. One's hidden behind this metal bracket. And the seesaw does just that. It pivots up and down. And in this position, your machine will never work. When you get a jackpot, balls will just start backing up in your machine and they won't pay out. So if you're ever playing and nothing happens, you want to turn around. Maybe you need to reset this seesaw. Maybe it's something else. But to reset the seesaw, you just basically push up on this plunger right here, push it up, and now it's in the right position. Now you can connect your battery. I'll just flip this over, and when I do, you see a light come on here. This light comes on and stays on when you don't have enough balls in your machine. When you add balls into the top supply tray, the green tray just out of view, as you pour in balls, they will push down on this lever, turning off the light. So if that light ever comes on, you need to stop what you're doing and refill the machine. Here's the light from the front view that comes on. This up here is just decorative. There's no light there. Another way you can tell that you need to reload your supply tray is if your play tray is full of balls here and you loosen them and they don't roll in here into your shooter assembly. So you're flipping with the flipper and nothing is happening, but you see balls. There's actually a lever in here that shuts the flow of balls whenever your top supply is out of tray. So as soon as you add balls to the supply tray, it moves the lever out of the way and then they flow into your shooter assembly. We'll load some balls into the play tray. Load balls into the supply tray, and when we do, they will roll down here, roll across this upper track around this turn, go across those 2 levers, and then enter into the jackpot assembly. Here they'll wait until you get a jackpot. Next we'll place the bucket. You need a catch bucket at the bottom of the machine to catch the balls as they come out of this chute. Whenever you get a jackpot, the winning ball drops here, and whenever you don't win, the ball drops out here. This is also where they come when you empty your machine. Playing pachinko, you pull down on your flipper down to your finger rest bar, you pull it down all the way, and then quickly let go. And when you do, it'll launch a ball up around this track, it'll hit this bumper, and then it'll bounce back onto the play field, and then it'll either go by these round spinners which redirect the ball, it may drop into one of these pockets here, or it may drop into one of these tulips. And they call them tulips because they're like flowers right now, they're open. If a ball goes in them, they close, and if they're closed and a ball goes in, they open. You could also get a ball to go into any one of these pockets of your main attraction here. Now no matter which one of these your ball goes into, the same exact thing happens. You're going to get a jackpot, it'll pay out the same number of balls, you'll hear a bell sound as the balls fall down and hit the bell, and then this light will flash. And if you don't win, the ball will drop right down here and exit out to the back. So we'll go ahead and shoot, and the first time you shoot, nothing will happen because we're just loading balls in the machine, and it's actually loading one through the shooter assembly into the shooter lane. Now we'll shoot again. Okay, we had a ball go into this pocket, and it closed. It paid out a jackpot. We saw the light flash, and we heard the bells, the bell as the balls hit the bell. Now you can play, you can try and aim. So I've closed this tulip, but this one is open here. So I would like to try and get it in here. It's much easier to get into open one than a closed one. So you do that by pulling down on your flipper only part way. And you pull it part way and try to get it just to drop over here. Now if you don't pull down far enough, it'll roll up, but not far enough out of the lane, and then it'll go back down into your receiving tray here. I got one in that tulip. So it's definitely a game of skill and a little bit of luck. Your machine has a neat feature that if you get a ball to go in a certain portion of your main attraction, and if any of the if these tulips are closed, it can open them. We'll go ahead and drop one in the side here. And it actually opened both tulips. Pretty cool. We'll drop one in the top. And finally we'll drop one into either side of the kimono here. Let's take a look at what happens when you get a jackpot. Back behind the plastic here, here's one of the tulips. There's a little bitty hole here, a little dark circle. There's another one. I'm going to drop a ball in there, in that pocket. And when I do, you can see it roll down. And it's going to roll down towards the seesaw, enter the seesaw, and then cause the seesaw to pivot. And the ball will be released, and it'll come over to this channel, and it'll land on a long metal arm. And the weight of that ball will cause that metal arm to pivot down. And so as this arm pivots down all the way across, here's the pivot point, it'll pivot down, it'll push this rod up, and as that pushes that rod up, it's going to pivot some linkage up here, pivoting all of this, and it'll cause this arm to release. And when that arm releases, the balls that are there will fall down, hit this plate, they'll roll across, and then they'll hit another arm. And when they hit this arm will pivot. It actually, out of view of the camera, it'll reset your seesaw for you automatically. It'll pivot down, the balls will fall over here and hit this bell. If you have won a whole bunch of jackpots, which we have right now, they won't actually hit the bell, they'll just back up, and eventually after they back up enough, they'll come over here, roll down, and hit this bell. And when they hit this bell, then they'll fall down into your receiving tray out front. So once you've got a lot of balls in your play tray, you need to empty it out so you can refill your supply tray and back. And you do that by this lever here. You slide it over to the left, and the balls will flow from here into your receiving tray, and then you can scoop them out into a bucket and refill the bag. Sometimes the weight of the balls here are so much that they cause a jam and the balls don't flow properly. If that happens, you just take your finger and loosen the balls so that they can flow, and you may also have to flip the flipper while you're loosening. Go ahead and try. Now, if you ever need to get inside your play field because, well, maybe a ball is jammed, or maybe someone put something in the play tray besides pachinko balls, and now it's jammed up in here and things aren't working, you can do that by first opening the play field. And the play field opens with this loop right here. It's just a loop, and if you lift up on it, there's a latch here and a latch here that hold the play field. And usually what I like to do is I like to lift up and pull out at the same time. So you can pull that open. Now to get the play tray door open, there is a latch right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to push down on that latch, and while we're pushing down, we're going to swing this open to the right. Swing that open, and that gives us access to our shooter assembly here in case there's carpet fuzz or pennies or anything in here you need to get out. Now if you Don't let go quickly on this. If you just pull down and let go a little bit, you've actually loaded a second ball in the shooter lane. And if you do that several times, you could just keep loading balls into the shooter lane, and then eventually you won't have enough power to launch them out onto the play field. So if I pull back now and quickly let go, they all rolled up and then rolled back down in the receiving tray. So if you have someone do that 10, 20, 30 times, you may not be able to clear out the jam unless you open the doors and then physically pull the balls out. Now you never want to lay down your machine or store it with pachinko balls in it. So we've got all the pachinko balls out of the front. Now to empty the balls out here, again we're going to just push this lever, and when we do, these arms are going to pivot back and the balls are going to flow down into the bucket. And there's a few that haven't rolled, so you just want to tap on it, make sure they all came out. And you still have the balls in here. And to get those out, you're going to need to push these levers back, these white levers, and then pivot that linkage until all the balls are out. Okay, that completes this quick start guide. We sure hope you enjoy your machine.